You were never meant just to blend in. You were never meant to follow the exact path someone else walked. You were never meant to copy or change just to make other people comfortable. You were born to stand out. However, the world constantly pushes us to compare, to compete, to fit the mold. And that choosing to be yourself can feel like a risk. And we get caught to try and be like them, whoever they are. The ones who seem to have it all figured out. The ones with more followers, more success, more everything. So we start changing ourselves, our voice and our style. Not because we want to, but because we think we have to. But the reality is your uniqueness is your power. See, nobody on this earth has your story. Nobody has your exact perspective, your combination of strengths and struggles, and your flavor of creativity. And that thing you hide because you're afraid it's weird or different, well, that might be the exact thing someone else needs. That could be the light that inspires someone else to shine. Standing out doesn't mean shouting louder than everyone else. It means being bold enough to show up as you truly are. It means honoring your voice, your gifts, and your path, even if no one else gets it at first. Think about the people who've made a real impact in the world. The ones we remember, the ones who changed something. They didn't follow the crowd, they broke the mold. They chose to be different, and they did it on purpose. But in order to do that, it takes courage, it takes patience, and it takes trust that being yourself will take you further than pretending ever could. If you're ready to live your authentic self, start by paying attention to the things that light you up. What do you really care about? What excites you? What feels meaningful to you, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else? Stop apologizing for your differences. Stop hiding your quirks, your passions, your opinions. Stop muting yourself to avoid judgment. You weren't made to be a copy, you were made to be an original. Your environment should be with people who see you, who appreciate you, not in spite of your uniqueness, but because of it. And if you don't have those people yet, keep being you. The right ones will find you. But you don't need people to validate your dreams, and you don't need the world to agree before you take your next step. The life you're building is yours, so own it. And when the self-doubt creeps in, remind yourself that blending in might feel safe, but it won't lead you to where you want to go. Your future isn't becoming like everyone else. Your future is in becoming fully yourself. Your uniqueness isn't something to fix. It's something to celebrate. Because it's your fingerprint. It's your gift. It's your edge. So go ahead, be bold, be brave, and be you. Life is hard. That's not meant to scare you, it's meant to set you free. Because once you accept the reality, you stop waiting for things to get easy. And you start choosing the kind of hard that leads somewhere worth going. Working out is hard, but so is feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. Saving money is hard, but so is living paycheck to paycheck. Having tough conversations is hard, but so is bottling everything up and letting resentment eat away at you. You see, the idea that you can avoid pain by doing nothing is a lie. Because if you don't pick your hard, life will pick it for you. And the hard that life picks usually comes with regret. It's regret for what you didn't start, regret for who you didn't become, regret for knowing deep down you had more in you, but you let fear or comfort keep you still. Now, choosing your hard doesn't mean your life becomes a constant struggle. It means you become intentional. It means you understand that growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It means you stop blaming the world for your circumstances and start owning your path forward. Look, no one wakes up excited to face discomfort, but the people who build great things in their bodies, their relationships, their businesses, their minds, they have one thing in common. They stopped asking for it to be easy. They started asking, is this hard worth it? And when the answer is yes, that's when your life starts to change. You stop skipping workouts. You stop making excuses for a job you hate. You stop staying quiet when you know you should speak up. Because now you know that comfort comes with a price. It costs you your potential. It costs you your confidence. It costs you the pride that only comes from showing up when you didn't feel like it. But understand though that hard doesn't last forever. Eventually the workouts get easier. The discipline becomes routine and the uncomfortable conversations bring peace. But only if you pick your heart and stick with it. So ask yourself, what pain am I avoiding that's just keeping me stuck in another kind of pain? Or what challenge am I postponing, hoping it magically disappears? Because it won't. And the longer you wait to choose your hard, the more you are living on someone else's terms. Everything doesn't have to change in a day, but you need to start somewhere. Pick one thing you've been putting off and lean into it. The kind of hard that stretches your mind, strengthens your discipline, and sharpens your character. Because when you look back years from now, you won't remember how tired you were. You won't remember how sore or scared you felt. You'll remember that you chose to take control of your life, and that made all the difference. So no, life's not easy, but you do get to choose your hard. And when you choose it with purpose, when you face it with courage, and when you walk into it with your head high, you don't just survive it, you become stronger because of it. And that strength becomes your story. That becomes your freedom. And that's worth every step. Just because somebody else doesn't see your value doesn't mean you're worthless. And just because somebody else discards you doesn't mean you're garbage. People will overlook you. They'll talk over you, walk past you. They'll treat you like you're invisible. But here's the truth. Their opinion doesn't define your value. Your worth isn't decided by how loud you are, how popular you are, or how many people cheer you on. You were born worthy. That doesn't change just because the world forgot to clap for you. See, too many people spend their lives trying to earn what they already have. They chase approval. They bend, shrink, and twist themselves into shapes just to fit into someone else's frame. And still they feel empty. Why? Because deep down, they've started to believe the lie that if they don't see my value, maybe I don't have any. And that lie is poison, and it spreads. Because it shows up when you second guess your decisions, when you stop yourself from speaking up, when you stay in places that drain you, relationships that break you, or jobs that don't see you. All because you've been trained to believe that validation comes from the outside. It's from applause, from likes, from someone else saying you're enough. But you are enough, right now, as you are. Self-worth isn't about being perfect. It's not about having it all together. It's about recognizing that even in your struggle, even in your pain, you are valuable. You matter and you belong. But just so we understand, you won't always feel this way. There will be days when your self-esteem drops, when comparison creeps in, when someone says something that cuts deep and you start to question everything. That's normal. That's being human. But here's what you must remember. Feelings are temporary. Worth is not. You're not defined by who left you, who hurt you, who overlooked you. You're not defined by your lowest moments, your worst mistakes, or the things you regret. You are bigger than that, deeper than that, brighter than that. Start reclaiming your worth. Stop waiting for others to tell you who you are. And start reminding yourself of your strengths, your resilience. The fact that you've survived 100% of your worst days and you're still here, that alone is power. Surround yourself with people who lift you, who speak life into you, who see your light even when you forget you have one. And most of all, do the work. Build yourself up one day, one habit, one win at a time. Keep promises you've made to yourself. Take care of your body, invest in your growth, and forgive yourself for the past. That's self-worth in action. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your truth. Don't let rejection write your story. Don't let someone's inability to see your value trick you into thinking that you have none. You're not here to be small. You're not here to please everyone. You're not here to earn love. You're here to live, to grow, and to rise. Remember this, their blindness doesn't take away your beauty. Their silence doesn't erase your voice. And their ignorance doesn't cancel your value. You are worthy, fully, deeply, unquestionably, whether they see it or not. And the moment you start believing in your worth, the world starts catching up. Let's be real. Nobody likes looking at their weaknesses. We'd rather show off our strengths, lean into what we're good at, and hope that that's enough to carry us. But what you have to understand is what you avoid is what's holding you back. You see it in sports all the time. The player with an incredible jump shot, but terrible defense. The fighter with knockout power, but weak endurance. The athlete who dominates in practice but crumbles under pressure. Talent and strengths will take you far, but weaknesses will determine your ceiling. It's simple. Self-evaluation is uncomfortable. It's easier to say, that's just not my thing, than to admit, hey, I need to work on this. But ignoring your flaws doesn't make them disappear. It just makes them stronger. The difference between good and great is the great ones attack their weaknesses head on. They don't avoid them, they fix them. So how do you do that? Well, here's a guide. Step number 1, identify the weak spot. Your first step is being honest with yourself. Ask, where do I struggle most when things get tough? What's the one skill I know is holding me back? If I were competing against myself, what weakness would I exploit? You can't fix what you won't face. So admitting the problem is where real growth starts. And then step 2, shift your mindset. Most people see weaknesses as roadblocks. They avoid them because they don't want to feel bad about themselves. But weaknesses aren't permanent. They're projects. They're just areas you haven't mastered yet. The best don't see them as flaws, they see them as opportunities to get better. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, start thinking, this is my next challenge. That mindset shift alone changes everything. Step 3 is you got to make it a priority. A lot of people acknowledge their weaknesses, but they don't actually do anything about them. They'll say, yeah, I should work on that, and then go right back to what's comfortable. If it's a weakness, it needs to go to the top of your list. You don't just work on it when you have time, you attack it every day. You create a structured plan to improve it. If your mindset collapses under pressure, you don't just hope it gets better. You train yourself to perform under stress. If your confidence is shaky, you don't just ignore it. You build it through preparation and repetition. So make a plan, put in the reps, track your progress, turn your weak spots into strengths. Step 4 is you have to push through the frustration, because at first you're going to struggle. It's going to feel awkward, frustrating, and slow. That's where most people quit. They try for a few weeks, don't see huge results, and then decide maybe this just isn't for me. But that's the test. Do you actually want to improve, or do you want to just stay comfortable? The only way to beat a weakness is to stay consistent long enough to see progress. It won't happen overnight. But if you stick with it, you'll wake up one day and realize that what used to be your biggest struggle is now second nature. And then step 5, keep looking for the next one. The truth about growth is that it never stops. Once you turn one weakness into a strength, well, then find the next one. There's always another level, another challenge, another way to improve. That's how champions are built. They don't run from their weaknesses, they hunt them down. The easiest thing in the world is to lean on what you're already good at. But the ones who reach their full potential don't take the easy route. They do the hard work. If there's a weakness you've been avoiding, it's time to step up and start doing something about it. Because your next level is hiding in the work that you don't want to do. Have you ever felt good about something? You know, your progress, your success, your happiness, until you saw someone else doing better. You were proud of your work until you scrolled through social media and saw someone achieving more. You felt confident until you walked into a room and noticed someone who seemed smarter, wealthier, or more accomplished. That moment right there, that's the moment joy is stolen from you. Comparison is the thief of joy. It doesn't just take your happiness, it drains your motivation, steals your energy, and blinds you from your own success. It makes you feel like what you have isn't enough, when in reality, it was enough before you looked at someone else. But what you need to understand is this: comparison is an illusion. The moment you compare yourself to someone else, you're seeing only a fraction of their reality. You're looking at their highlight reel, not their struggles. You see their victories, but not the failures it took to get there. You see their confidence, but not their insecurities. And yet you let this incomplete picture dictate how you feel about yourself. And that has to stop. Because every second you spend comparing, you're robbing yourself of appreciation. You're ignoring your own growth. You're denying yourself the credit you deserve. So how do you break free of this toxic cycle? First, focus on your own journey. Your path is yours. No one else has lived your experiences, fought your battles, or overcome your obstacles. Your success cannot and should not look like anyone else's. The only comparison worth making is to who you were yesterday. Second is control your environment. Social media, TV, even the people you surround yourself with. Everything influences your perception of success. Be mindful of what you consume. If something constantly makes you feel less than, well, unfollow it. Mute it. Step away from it. Protect your peace. Third, celebrate others without diminishing yourself. Just because someone else is winning doesn't mean you're losing. Success is not a limited resource. Someone else's greatness does not take away from your own. So clap for others and then get back to your own work. Number 4 is practice gratitude daily. Nothing destroys comparison faster than gratitude. When you actively focus on what's good in your life, you stop obsessing over what others have. Write down your wins, recognize your strengths, and own your achievements. At the end of the day, your joy belongs to you. Don't hand it over to the illusion of someone else's life. Because when you stop comparing, you start thriving. When you stop looking sideways, you start moving forward. And when you stop chasing someone else's version of success, you finally step into your own. So choose yourself, choose your journey, and don't let comparison steal another moment of your joy. When life takes a wrong turn, our instinct very often is to point outward. We blame circumstances, people, or even fate, like the job market isn't fair, the economy is terrible, that person betrayed me. Blame is easy. It allows us to protect our ego, to avoid discomfort, and to tell ourselves that our struggles are beyond our control. And it may be hard to hear, but blame won't fix anything. It won't move you forward. It won't rewrite your story. The only thing that can truly create change is taking responsibility for your life. Now, responsibility doesn't mean self-criticism. It doesn't mean tearing yourself down or carrying guilt for everything that goes wrong. It means owning your role in your circumstances so that you can actually do something about it. Because if you refuse to acknowledge your part in the situation, you also give up the power to change it. If your career is stuck in neutral, what are you doing to develop your skills, expand your network, or create new opportunities? If your relationships keep ending in heartbreak, what patterns are you repeating? Are you choosing the same kind of partner? Are you bringing unresolved wounds into every connection? If your health is declining, why haven't you prioritized your well-being? Are you making excuses instead of making changes? There's an old saying, when you point a finger at someone else, 3 fingers point back at you. And that's not meant to shame you. It's meant to wake you up. Because if you created the problem, then you also have the ability to create the solution. That's where the power lies. This mindset shift isn't easy. It requires humility. It requires self-awareness. And it requires the courage to look at yourself honestly, without judgment, but with a determination to improve. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about empowering yourself. You probably know people who constantly blame the world for their problems. What happens to them? They stay stuck. They wait for external forces to change, hoping for a lucky break, waiting for someone to come and fix things for them. But the people who take responsibility, they adapt, they grow, they find a way. They learn from failure instead of being defined by it. When things go wrong, it's time to reflect, adjust, and take action. Instead of complaining about the things you can't control, focus on what you can. Instead of dwelling on what's broken, look for ways to rebuild. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Change takes time. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when it's tempting to fall back into old habits of blame and frustration. But every time you choose to take responsibility instead, you take another step forward. At the end of the day, the most powerful transformation you'll ever experience won't come from luck or external circumstances. It will come from the moment you decided to stop waiting and start owning every part of your life. There comes a time when we're faced with a choice: to take a stand or to remain silent, to hold firm or to be swayed by the opinions and expectations of others. This choice defines who we are and what we value. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What does it mean to stand for something? It means living in alignment with your core values. It means having principles that guide your actions, even when the world is pressuring you to compromise. It's about conviction, knowing what you believe in, and being unshakable in the face of opposition. History is full of people who stood for something. Martin Luther King stood for equality and justice. Rosa Parks believed in dignity and fairness. These were individuals who could have chosen the easier path of silence and compliance, but instead they stood tall. And because they did, they changed the course of history. But this isn't about famous names and grand gestures. It's about you and me. Every day we face moments that test our resolve. Moments when we're asked to compromise our values for convenience, approval, or comfort. Maybe it's standing up for someone who's been mistreated. Maybe it's saying no to an opportunity that doesn't align with your integrity. Or maybe it's simply having the courage to pursue your dreams even when others don't believe in them. Standing for something doesn't mean the road will be easy. In fact, it's the opposite. It takes courage to hold firm when others are telling you to let go. It takes strength to remain grounded when life feels like a storm. But the reward is always worth it. Because when you stand for something, you stand taller. You build self-respect. You inspire others to find their own courage. See, when you go through life without a clear set of values or beliefs, you become like a ship without an anchor, drifting wherever the tide takes you. You start chasing approval instead of purpose, conforming to what others expect instead of defining your own path. The world doesn't need more people who follow the crowd. It needs people who stand out. People who are willing to step up, even when it's uncomfortable. The first step is knowing what you believe in. Take some time to reflect on your values, your goals, and the person you want to be. Write it down. Make it real. Then live with those values every day. Let them guide your decisions. But be prepared to face challenges. Not everyone will agree with you. Not everyone will understand. That's okay. Standing for something isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about staying true to yourself. Remember that standing for something doesn't mean you can't grow or change. Your values may evolve as you gain new experiences and perspectives. What matters is that you're intentional about who you are and what you stand for. So take a stand. Take a stand for your values, for your dreams, for the person you want to become. Because if you don't, the world will decide for you. And trust me, that's a far greater loss.